Well, here we are. It's earnings day, one of my favorite days of any quarter. So what are we going to watch for in today's earnings report and the call afterwards? The market is down this morning as the 10-year flirts with 5% again, but mark my words, bonds are coming down. Truflation dropping fast, and in the early going, Tesla continues to follow the NASDAQ. But I still think there will be some odd moves. In fact, it even began to look like maybe the odd moves were starting in the first 10 minutes this morning. All right, listen, later today, you want to hit notify because today is going to be a fun day on this channel. Every day is a fun day on this channel, but today in particular, right after the earnings call, just as fast as I can read it and report on it, I will put up a report. So that'll probably end up being somewhere around 1:45 California time. And then at about 5 o'clock, somewhere around 5 o'clock, I'll post a video where Larry Goldberg and I will review the earnings and the call. This will be by far the best review of the earnings and call that you will see in the YouTube world later today. Because, come on, let's face it, Larry's got the massive experience that can help us all really understand this on a global level. All right. And then, of course, you'll all, you need to buy these. I'm going to keep the special going today. I'll talk about that later. Did you know I had a special going? Yeah, special on the Cybertruck opener. Yeah, and it worked. We got more. The orders came in. All right. So is it just me? Or no, it's not just me. It turns out that everybody seems to be just interested in three metrics when it comes to the earnings later today. The margins on the cars, the earnings per share, and the reconfirmation of 1.8 million units for the total year. I think there's absolute certainty. Like 99% certainty they will reconfirm the 1.8 million. It is not a hard get. I think the earnings per share will come in around 19%. That's my number, but the number seems to be ranging anywhere from about 17 to 20 plus. Brian Wong is at 20 plus. I think he's definitely got the high there. My guesstimates for the EPS, I'm in at 84 cents. The street's about 73. I think there's almost nobody under 70. So anything under 70 will definitely be seen as a miss. Maybe even 72 will be seen as a miss. Anything over about 75, I think is going to be seen as a beat. There's a bunch of us that are over 80 cents, and that includes both Larry Goldberg and me. So anyway, we'll see what happens on all that. I am looking for way more this afternoon. I want to see the confirmation of the 50% year-over-year growth that starts from 2020. It's an average year-over-year. I'd like to I don't think that we're going to get better than that. There's not going to be at this meeting, at the first quarter meeting, at the third week of January. I think Elon or whoever makes the pronouncement will say the actual expected units for 2024, like they did this year, but I don't think that's going to happen at this meeting. All right. I'm looking for more color on the margins, especially regarding lower costs of goods and also lower costs of batteries. And then we'll see. We'll see if any of that comes true. I am also looking for the CT handover announcement to be today at the earnings call. Yeah, I hope so. And I'd also like to hear how sales are going of the Model 3 Plus. That should hopefully be what's one of the questions, and hopefully they answer it even without being asked. All right, Truflation. All right, there was a noted pop on food and beverages, and also on eating away from home. But overall, the rate continues to be down strong. It's not all the way down to 2.21 now. The low for the entire year, I think, is 2.09. This is the lowest it's been in 2 months. So this is completely the opposite of the guidance that Truflation's own analysts provided. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm going with my prediction. My prediction is inflation is over. I don't see any reason. Nobody is telling me a single sector. I want to hear a sector. Give me one sector. Maybe oil, but oil is, okay, it's bouncing up against 90 again this morning, but it isn't 95 and it isn't going towards 100. And I think it'll settle down as well. Anyway, and in the meantime, even though oil is slightly up again this week, Gasoline is down. So I'm saying inflation is dead, and I'm saying bonds are a huge buy. And I noted this morning again, I've seen the stat a couple of times. This is the largest bond drop on percentage basis in history. I mean, basically going back to the 1800s or something. So bonds have dropped dramatically because rates have gone up. Well, actually, it's the opposite. People haven't bought the bonds, so the bonds have dropped, and that has caused rates to go up. The rates are going up partially because, and the folks are not buying the bonds, partially because of this really fast increase in the Fed rate, the Fed interest rate, but partially it's because of where inflation was. But inflation's over, and the bonds are now selling way too low. So that's not investment advice. All right, a couple of quotes from Fortune this morning. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen remarked inflation is being really well behaved. Wharton professor Jeremy Siegel believes rates will hold steady in November. Everybody thinks the rates will hold steady in November. In his weekly wisdom tree commentary, Professor Siegel observed that there is still a great deal of economic uncertainty, not least the tensions in the Middle East. I will talk about that in a minute. Despite this, Professor Siegel wrote, "We're poised for a year-end rally in equities and a good year for 2024. Couldn't agree more. All right, CNN business reports. Housing starts rose to a seasonally adjusted rate of 1.358 million last month, falling short of expectations of 1.38 million, according to data released by the Census Bureau. The number of units started was 7.2% lower than a year ago. Yep. Single-family housing starts, which count for most of the construction, rose 3.2% in September from the revised August figure of a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 963,000. But building permits dropped in September 4.4% from August revised number to a seasonally adjusted rate of 1.473. Permits were 7.2% lower than a year ago. I'm saying it. I'll say it again and again. I looked at the stats for the station for this particular channel, and I noticed many of you are regulars. All right. And so I know you're probably hearing my same old saw over and over again, but there is new folks always coming in. And some of you can't watch 30 shows a day. Shock. Some of you are not watching every single episode. So sometimes you might have missed what I said last night in detail about housing. Housing is not coming back until interest rates come down. But when interest rates come down, housing will come back, and they'll start building more housing, and people will start buying more housing. And in the spring, anyway, you've heard me say it all. All right, from yesterday, I want to repeat this from last night's show because not very many people watched last night's show. Industrial production increased 0.3% in September and advanced at an annual rate of 2.5% in the third quarter. Manufacturing output rose 0.4% in September. The index for mining moved up 0.4%. The index for utilities, it's the only one, decreased 0.3%. At 103.6% of its 2017 average, total industrial production in September was 0.1% above its year earlier level. Capacity utilization moved up to 79.7% in September, a rate that is equal to its longstanding average. Anything around 80 is good. Above 80 is really good. Hey, I'm telling you, the economy is fine. China is showing better than expected growth. Still tepid, but better than expected. The economy is fine. Inflation is going down. Mark Siegel is right. Things are going to be fine. That's just me. It's not investment advice. Teslarati is reporting. This could be seen in the Tesla Model 3's order page for Great Britain, which now shows the upgraded Highland Model R3 Plus is now available. Similar to other countries where the upgraded Model 3 is available, two variants are offered for the all-electric sedan, the base rear-wheel drive and the mid-range dual model. Now, here is the interesting part. The rear-wheel drive is listed with a starting price of £39,990 in the UK. And the dual motor is $49,990. As noted in Top Gear, the Model 3 rear-wheel drive started at $42,990 in September. This means that the upgraded sedan is not just better, it is more affordable. A look at the Tesla's order page for the upgraded Model 3 in the UK shows an unestimated delivery date of January to February 2024. This is true for both models. So I believe that the lower price is reflecting the improvements in cost to produce and various commodity savings, like I've been saying. But I also think that that big drop is the battery. CATL and LG are both saying the batteries are 33% cheaper, which would be $2,000 at cost on the car. With 20% margins, that would mean you could lower the cost of the car by $2,500 and still maintain 20% margins if you were already at 20%. All right, we'll jump over here to India. It appears that India may be caving into the demands of the BEV makers, mainly Tesla. There's a potential that they're going to approve allowing a drop in import duties to 15% from over 100% if companies make promises to use 20% local supply in the early stages, rising to 40% after 2 years. This is a developing story. Those are where the negotiations are right now. For today, I don't really see any reason for markets to be down. They started off down. We'll see where they are in a minute. Economic news continues positive. Earnings are still beating. Inflation is headed down. So early weakness may follow yesterday's pattern. Yesterday, we started off weak, came back up to neutral. I wouldn't be surprised if we come back up to neutral, maybe even go positive for overall markets today, because there's nothing. The situation in Israel, it is not affecting markets. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter what are the headlines saying about oil prices being up because of Israel, I don't think so. I just don't think that's what's going on. Nothing. I can't find any correlation. I can't see any information that would suggest that this is true. Tesla is likely to move oddly today. Some are going to position for an upside shock, something surprise, some really good news like beats, and some are going to position themselves for the normal sell-off on Thursday and be short the stock or out of the stock. I've seen that already on X today with people making comments that they are completely shed of the stock for today, waiting until next week. Anyway, I think you have to wait. I don't think we'll even know on Thursday or Friday what people really feel about what happens today. I really think it takes until Monday, Tuesday next week before we're going to see. And of course, next week is the PCE is next Friday. So who knows? Next week could be one of those wild weeks as people get all nervous about what's going to happen on the PCE. I'm not nervous at all. All right, let's take a look at where the markets are right now. We have Tesla continuing actually to follow the NASDAQ right now. That's been what it's been all week, which is what I predicted. I did say that today could be completely different. So no, my prediction was only through now. I think, later today, I expect some moving around. All right. So we got the Dow down 127. We got the NASDAQ down 85. We got the S&P down 20 and Tesla down $2.50. If you want those in percentages, that is the Dow down 33, the percent, 0.333, the NASDAQ down 0.62, S&P down 0.43, and Tesla at down 0.75, not even at its normal doubling of the NASDAQ. It is, but it's following the NASDAQ. And then we've got the Magnificent Seven all over the place, up and down, up and down, up and down. No continuity there. Now we have the ARC stocks, the Cathie Wood stocks are mostly down today after yesterday's surprise. I have no idea. I mean, they're down strongly, like 3%. I'm looking at 3.45, 2.46, down strongly today. Again, I think we'll see that bond yields are up. Let's go over and check that out right now. We have on the other information this morning, we have got the Bitcoin down 143, still trading in the 28s. We've got the dollar stalling because the Chinese economy beat expectations. We've got gold advancing big time, $38 all the way up to 1974. If you've been looking for something that's volatile, you should be trading gold. We've got oil up $1.48 this morning, but it's still only at 88. We haven't even crossed into the 90s. So I'm continuing to believe that oil will continue to trade in the 80s. I don't think we'll be going above that unless there's an actual information, something that suggests that somebody's not going to sell oil, somebody's going to lower their production. I don't see anything yet. All right. Bonds are up 0.021. So 2 basis points this morning on the 10-year to 4.868, pushing up towards that 5%. I think we will not cross 5. Yeah, okay, sure, we can cross 5 for a second. I think 5 is the top. That's what I said earlier 2 weeks ago, and then it came back down. I think that's where we're going to go again, especially with the PCE next week. The PCE is going to be wonderful next week. All right, let's look at the, so the 2-month is down 2 basis points. The 2 years down 2 basis points. It's only the 10-year that's up. There is some 20-year bonds being sold by the Treasury today. They don't even list those on here. Anyway, but yeah, the 10-year is continuing to be up 2 basis points. All right. So let's go back as we always do. We'll take 2 more looks at Tesla before we bow out today. We've got Tesla still down 2. So you see it's already going up again after it was down, but also the general market. The general market is already turning right now. I think, again, we'll be heading towards the green. So let's see. What else have I got to talk about? Oh, yeah, this. All right, what's the deal? You guys are all waiting to find out what my special is. Okay, my special is you still spend $25 for 1. But if you buy 2, I'll do it for $45. If you buy 3, I got to keep this 45 plus 20. 45 plus 25. 45 plus, so that's 70. And if you buy 4, I'll do it for 90. All right. And even you Canadians and Europeans and everybody else that's outside the zip code, if you buy 40, it's $90, no freight. Now that's a really good deal, and that somebody bought that one yesterday. So how many of you were going to grab that one today? We're never going to do this. Well, I might continue it tomorrow. Who knows? But it'll never be cheaper than this. All right. So there's your very, very hot deal on this. Remember, these are $30 on Amazon, and they are selling on Amazon for $30. And remember, Elon Musk is at $50 for his. And remember, please, to let me know, camo or regular. And if you're only going to buy 1 and you're outside the United States, or 1 or 2 or 3, and you're outside the United States, please add that $20. And remember that you could also join Patreon at the $5 level. Get the news 2 to 5 times a day. News as it breaks with my commentary 2 to 5 times a day. Almost never going to be even 5, but not over 5. I really only send you the really good stuff, the stuff that's really important. It's going to affect Tesla or affect the stock market. Today might be one of those days when there's 5, given the earnings. All right. And so you might want to join today. Remember, you get 7 days free to test it out if you want. Now, if you do it on the free deal, you got to wait to get your prizes until you actually are fully signed up. And the $10 deal, of course, you get a free cyber opener. And it's also, of course, a magnet on the back, so it gives you a refrigerator. It hangs on your refrigerator. Anyway, let's see what else is there to tell you. One last look, of course, one last look at what's happening. And Tesla is now at 290. The markets are flat. They're going like this. Okay. That's all I got. See you after earnings. It's going to be so much fun this afternoon. Looking forward to talking to you yet again today a couple of times. I missed it. I missed the off button.